Hello. I can't hear your voice. I can't hear your voice now. Oh,
Hello.
okay. Hello. Kakitako.
I see. That's good. How are you today?
Okay, Rako. But it's a little bit chilly today. So I wear a long sleeve shirt.
I see. That's why.
Oh, you look.
Alright.
You looks very nice clothes.
Formal.
Formal. Yes. Why?
Yeah.
What happened?
I just chose this one because I don't have any more like the uniform
Hmm,
in
ah.
native camp, so I need to have one.
Okay.
Yes.
I like your clothes.
Thank you. It's too formal.
So, yes,
Alright.
exactly.
Let's study and continue
Of
your
course,
quick
of
stage
course.
revision of stage 9. Okay, so we are now in question 9. Let's start.
Okay.
Now, how can we rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper? How can we rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper? We can rub out a pencil mark on a piece of paper by using a rubber.
A rubber.
What does the idiom for heaven's sake mean? What does the idiom for heaven's sake mean? The idiom for heaven's sake means a very strong form of please. What's a hole? What's a hole? A hole is a large room.
A large room.
What do we call that joint of the leg? What do we call that joint of the leg? We call that joint of the leg a knee.
A knee.
What do we call the chair a king or queen sits on? What do we call the chair a king or queen sits on? We call the chair a king or queen sits on a throne. What do we mean by a peculiar sound? What do we mean by a peculiar sound? By a peculiar sound, we mean a strange sound that may be difficult to identify. Does tea without sugar taste sweet? Does tea without sugar taste sweet? No, tea without sugar doesn't taste sweet. It tastes bitter. What word can we use instead of the word tidy? What word can we use instead of the word tidy? We can use the word neat instead of the word tidy. Have you ever hitchhiked? Yes, no.
No.
I've never
hitchhiked.
What do we mean by an easy life? What do we mean by an easy life? By an
easy life,
we mean
a
comfortable
life,
free from stress. What would you say was the best way to lose weight? What would you say was the best way to lose weight? I'd say the best way to lose weight was
to do aerobic exercise 3 hours a week.
I see, good. Is it in your own interest to wear a seatbelt in a car? Is it in your own interest to wear a seatbelt in a car? Yes. It's in my own interest.
It's my own interest.
In my own
interest
to wear a
seatbelt
in a car. Spell the word carrying, please. Spell the word carrying, please. CARRYING. Spell the word journeys, please. Spell the word journeys, please. JOURNEYS. When do we use the expressions may as well or might as well? When do we use expressions may as well or might as well? We use the expression may as well or might as well when we are suggesting something. Not because we think it's a great idea, but because we cannot think of anything better to do. How long can you hold your breath? How long can you hold your breath? I can hold my breath
for about 1 minute.
Now, what's a paw? What's a paw? A paw is the foot of an animal which has claws, like that of a cat, a dog, a lion, etc. Now, what's the difference between advice and advice? What's the difference between advice and advice? The difference between advice and advice is that advice is a noun, whereas advice is a verb. Now, what does it mean to be in debt? What does it mean to be in debt? To be in debt means that we owe somebody something, usually money. Which are more closely related to humans, apes, or monkeys? Which are more closely related to humans, apes, or monkeys? Apes are more closely related to humans than monkeys. Which flower do you think gives off the nicest scent? Which flower do you think gives off the nicest scent? I think the orange osmanthus gives off the nicest scent. Now, what does the idiom of the cough mean? What does the idiom of the cough mean? The idiom of the cough means without preparation. What do we call the type of lawyer who fights cases in the court? What do we call the type of lawyer who fights cases in the court? We call the type of lawyer who fights cases in a law court a barrister. Do you tend to eat too much when you go on holiday? Do you tend to eat too much when you go on holiday? Yes, now.
Yes.
I tend to eat too much when I go on holiday. What's the boiling point of water? What's the boiling point of water? The boiling point of water is 100 degrees centigrade or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. In what kind of situations do people have to act very cautiously? In what kind of situations do people have to act very cautiously? People have to act very cautiously in dangerous situations. Now, at what time do they deliver the mail at your house? At what time do they deliver the mail at your house? They deliver the mail at my house at about 9 o'clock. Now, what's your native language? What's your native language? My native language is Japanese. Now, which is the wealthiest region of that country? Which is the wealthiest region of that country? Tokyo is the wealthiest region of this country. What's a snake charmer? What's a snake charmer? A snake charmer is a person who charms a snake by playing a musical instrument. Can a woman clothe herself more cheaply than a man? Can a woman clothe herself more cheaply than a man? Yes, no. Yes. A woman can clothe herself more cheaply than a man. Is there anything that you cannot resist eating even though you know it's not very good for the health? Is there anything that you cannot resist eating even though you know it's not very good for the health? Yes, no. Yes. There's something that I cannot resist eating even though I know it's not very good for the health. Very good for the health. Good. Now, what do we shave with? What do we shave with? We shave with a razor. Now, are apples in season or out of season at the moment? Are apples in season or out of season at the moment? Apples are out of season at the moment. Is it an effort for you to get up in the morning? Is it an effort for you to get up in the morning? Yes, no. Yes. It's an effort for me to get up in the morning. If you live next to an airport, do you think you'd be able to tolerate the noise of the planes? If you live next to an airport, do you think you'd be able to tolerate the noise of the planes? Yes, no? No. If I lived next to the airport, I don't think I'd be able to tolerate the noise of the planes. Do you have a strong preference for any particular national cuisine? Do you have a strong preference for any particular national cuisine? Yes, no. Yes. I have a strong preference for a particular national cuisine. What's a voyage? What's a voyage? A voyage is A long journey,
on water,
or in space. Now, what part of the body is this? What part of the body is this? That part of the body is the jaw. What must you buy to be admitted to the cinema? What must you buy to be admitted to the cinema? You must buy a ticket in order to be admitted to the cinema. Okay, we are finished with stage 9. Let's move on to full stage revision of stage 10. Okay. Now let's start. Okay, now tell me a common way of communicating our ideas about how probable we think something is, besides using words like sure, probably, or perhaps. Tell me a common way of communicating our ideas about how probable we think something is, besides using words like sure, probably, or perhaps. A common way of communicating our ideas about how probable we think something is, besides using words like sure, probably, or perhaps, is by using modal auxiliary verbs. Okay, give me an example, please. I may buy some new clothes next weekend. Which model can express the idea that we're sure something is true because it makes logical sense in a particular situation? Which model can express the idea that we are sure something is true because it makes logical sense in a particular situation? The modal must can express the idea that we are sure something is true because it makes logical sense in a particular situation. Give me an example, please. Allison must have a lot of money because she owns houses in four different countries. Which models can express the idea of probably? The models should and ought to can express the idea of probably. Give me an example, please. They just said on TV that it ought to be nice and sunny tomorrow. Which models can express the idea of perhaps? The modals may, might, and could can express the idea of perhaps. Give me an example, please. Quick. If you run, you might catch the bus. Which model expresses the idea that we're sure something is not true because it makes no logical sense in a particular situation? Which model expresses the idea that we're sure something is not true because it makes no logical sense in a particular situation? The modal can't expresses the idea that we are sure something is not true because it makes no logical sense in a particular situation. Give me an example, please. Amy can't be in her flat. I've called there 3 times and nobody's answered. When we use models in this way, what do we do when we're talking about something that happened in the past? When we use models in this way, what do we do when we're talking about something that happened in the past? When we use modals in this way, we put the word have and a past participle after the modal when we are talking about something that happened in the past. Give me an example, please. I can't find him anywhere. I think she may have gone home. Okay, now I will give you a sentence and you say a sentence with the same meaning but with a model. She runs every day, so I'm sure she's fit. She runs every day, so She runs every day, so she must be fit. Perhaps he knows the address of the party. He might know the address of the party. I'm certain that he isn't in his office because the lights are off. I'm certain that he is in his office because the lights are off. He can't be
in his office
because the lights
are off.
I think the cake will probably taste very good. I think the cake will probably taste very good. I think the cake
should
taste very
good.
I'm sure he studied hard for that exam because he got the highest possible grade. I'm sure he studied hard for that exam because he got the highest possible grade. He must have studied hard for that exam because he got the highest possible grade. They left home 2 hours ago, so they've probably arrived by now. They left home 2 hours ago, so they've probably arrived by now. They left home 2 hours ago, so they should have arrived by now. I don't believe she's gone home yet because her car is still here. I don't believe she's gone home yet because her car is still here. She can't have gone home yet because her car is still here. I think perhaps I forgot to lock the door. I think perhaps I forgot to lock the door. I may have forgotten to lock the door. Which country do you think has the best climate in the world? Which country do you think has the best climate in the world? I think
Spain
has the best climate
in the world.
Why? Because?
Because especially in Barcelona, Spain, there are more than 300 days of sunshine a year.
Okay, good. Now, what's the opposite of to sit in the sun? What's the opposite of to sit in the sun? The opposite of to sit in the sun is to sit in the shade. When you buy jeans, what shade of blue do you tend to buy? A light shade or a dark shade? When you buy jeans, what shade of blue do you tend to buy? Light shade or a dark shade? When I buy jeans, I tend to buy
a dark shade of blue.
Okay, now what am I pretending to do? You're pretending to shade your eyes from the sun. At the cinema, when someone passes in front of the projector and cuts the beam of light, what do we see appear on the screen? At the cinema, when someone passes in front of the projector and cuts the beam of light, what do we see appear on the screen? At the cinema, when someone passes in front of the projector and cuts the beam of light, we see the shadow of the person's head appear on the screen. Can you see any shadows on the walls of this room? Can you see any shadows of the walls of this room? Yes, I can see some shadows on the walls of that room. Where?
Where it's my back towards a door, behind the door.
I see. Okay. Now, do you like old-fashioned country houses where the ceilings are supported by big wooden beams? Do you like old-fashioned country houses where the ceilings are supported by big wooden beams? Yes, now.
Yes.
I like old-fashioned country houses where the ceilings are supported by big wooden beams. Would you like to live in a house like that? Yes, no.
No.
I wouldn't like to live in a house
like that.
What do people do at a concert when the performance has been very good? People cheer at a concert when the performance has been very good. What does it mean, cheer up? Things aren't as bad as they seem. What does it mean, cheer up? Things aren't as bad as they seem. Cheer up. Things aren't as bad as they seem. Means that we should try to feel happier because the situation that is making us unhappy is not as serious as it appears to be. Now direct me to the nearest post office from there, please.
Okay.
Direct me to the nearest post office from there, please. Go out
of the building. and turn left, and then turn right immediately, and walk straight for 5 minutes.
Okay, good. Now, do you think you'd be good at directing a large business? Do you think you'd be good at directing a large business? Yes, no.
Yes.
I think I'd be good at
directing a large business.
When swimmers swim across the English Channel, do they swim in a direct line? When swimmers swim across the English Channel, do they swim in a direct line? No. When swimmers swim across the English Channel, they don't swim in a direct line. They swim
in a curve.
Why is this? Because if they tried
to go
in a direct line, they'd be carried, of course, by the strong current. What do you do directly after the lesson is over? What do you do directly after the lesson is over? I maintain my YouTube channel after the directly after the lesson is over. Okay. Now give me an example of the word will used for a present habit, please. Give me an example of the word will used for a present habit, please. Sarah loves books. And will often spend the whole weekend reading. Give me an example of the word would used for a past habit, please. Give me an example of the word would used for a past habit, please. As a child, I would ride my bicycle every day. Every day.
Every day, thank you.
Okay. Now, when speaking about past habits, what's the difference between would and used to? When speaking about past habits, what's the difference between would and used to? When speaking about past habits, the difference between would and used to is that we can use would only to speak about behavior, whereas we can use used to speak about both behavior
and states.
Make a sentence with the word used to that could not be made using the word would instead, please. Make a sentence with the words used to that could not be made using the word would instead, please. That building used to belong
to my family.
At what age does a child move from primary school to secondary school in that country? At what age does a child move from primary school to secondary school in that country? A child moves from primary school to secondary school at about the age of
12 or 13 in this country.
Now, what kind of food do you think people associate with your country? What kind of food do you think people associate with your country? I think people associate
sushi
with my
country.
Do you think it's a good idea to meet one's work associate socially? Do you think it's a good idea to meet one's work associate socially? Yes, no.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea
to meet one's work associates socially.
Why?
Because if we take off our work mask and interact with each other, we will get to know each other's real goals of life.
I see. Good.
Thank
now,
you.
As a noun, what does the word fellow mean? As a noun, what does the word fellow mean? As a noun, the word fellow
means
the same as
man.
But this is quite
old-fashioned these days.
Do you ever talk to your fellow travelers when you're on a train? Do you ever talk to your fellow travelers when you're on a train? Yes, no.
Yes.
I sometimes
talk
to my fellow
travelers
when I'm
on a train.
Now, what do we call the screen we'll look at when we are using a desktop PC? What do we call the screen we'll look at when we're using a desktop PC? We call the screen
we look at
when we are using
a desktop PC,
a monitor. What's the advantage of having a wireless mouse, keyboard, and printer for a PC? What's the advantage of having a wireless mouse, keyboard, and printer for a PC? The advantage of
having a wireless mouse,
keyboard,
and
printer for a PC is that they can be moved around more easily, and everything on one's desk
looks tidier.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you,
for
Salama.
today's lesson.
Okay.
We are now in 831 today. So far, we finished a lot today for the stage 10. So, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you,
Enjoy your
Salama.
weekend.
Yes, of course. はい、というわけで、昨日ちょっとだけ始まって、3分ぐらいやった、カランメソッドの、ステージ9の、クイックステージリビジョンが今日で終わりました。そして、もともとノーマルステージではステージ10まで進行していましたので、クイックステージリビジョンというのは、9、1個前のステージやるんですけれども、続けざまに今日同じ授業の中で、フルステージリビジョンのステージ10が、始まりました。ということです。